The beats of political activities are beaten very heavily in Nigeria. Election and re-election rent the air. Some time ago, I shared these views publicly. Every 4 years, towards any election cycle, some people will just get Igbos overtly excited and agitated under the banner of the Nigerian presidency of Igbo extraction, or what you may call Igbo presidency. One northern leader or one southern or southwest leader will just fly a kite. It's the time for Igbo to produce the president of Nigeria. And our politicians will be running around the place, kitty kitty kata kata. Although since Peter Obi came into the fray, that massive quest by many people have reduced because of this personality that is brought into the race. But my question has always been, are the Igbos actually reading the room right? That the Igbos are marginalized in Nigeria is not news. That the Igbos are not allowed by the structure of the country to aspire to the presidency or to occupy the office of the president of Nigeria is not debatable. But what surprises me is how much effort Igbos and the leaders of Igbo politically put in trying to convince themselves that it's possible under the current Nigerian system for an Igbo man to emerge as president of Nigeria through an election. I'm an optimist. I'm also a realist. How realizable that objective is something that I've not been able to decipher till this moment. I spent some time in Nigerian political environments, especially at the national level. From 2000, I worked in the National Assembly, so I interacted at that level, looking at sitting in the gallery, interacting with honorable members from all the parts of Nigeria. I was a very active senior legislative aide, very, very active. And because of my interest in politics, I interacted at a very high level. Then, very young. From what I could deduce, it was obvious that it's a tall order for an Igbo man to become president of Nigeria. In fact, it looks like there's a playbook Nigerian oligarchs they read from that technically schemes the Igbos out of presidency. When PDP was formed, Ekweme played a very important role in formation of PDP. And amongst all of them that aspired to be president at the time, I could be biased, but I don't think that any of them matched the credentials of Dr. Alex Ekweme late. But the system sat and met and decided against him. Obasanjo emerged. So in 2002, I actually resigned from my job in National Assembly. I tendered my resignation, left out of some kind of youthful anger, and met Chief Chekwa Sokori. And the message he had sounded so much like music to my ears. I believe that what the intention he had was the best route politically for Igbo in Nigeria. From my education background and or interests, I've always had to study comparative political activities across Nigeria, from the north and the west and all that. How did they become very successful in Nigerian politics? So we dug in, did all the things, and got ABGA registered. When we were about to choose a presidential candidate, it was a new party. Many people didn't give ABGA a chance. In fact, unknown to many people, at that initial stage, Ojukwu was not part of the formation of ABGA because he believed, like many people, that registering ABGA was an impossible task. But with the help of Igbo, Igbo unions in the north and all key stakeholders, many people, Jekwas was able to pull that through. So when we now had ABGA, because the idea was to give Igbos a platform for political expression, a platform firmly controlled, managed, and prepared by Igbos, so they can determine their own political trajectory. We had some names: Okwadike Ife, General Ikewachukwu, Chief Jim Obodo, Nyawodo, and all kinds of names were bandied around. They were lobbying Chekwas to fly the ABGA presidential flag. But Chief, during one of our brainstorming meetings, Chief just asked the question, what do you guys think about Ikemba Dim Odumegwu as our presidential candidate? Some of us felt, well, his image, agitator, Biafra leader, a warlord, and all that. And Chief said, well, because of that, it's because we were looking for someone whose name will evoke Igbo patriotism, Igbocentric passion, emotions, votes, massive support. So we went to issues of where he used to live there and briefed him. He was reluctant at the time. He said, oh, I don't have money or all these things. I don't have the energy and all that and all that. And trust Chief Chekwa Sokori, very optimistic human being. We went into the field. Something happened that in fact, at the early days, so the day Ojukwu was supposed to declare for presidency, we went to Zodiac Hotel, booked the place, and we were planning. So we needed media. Our director of media then was Ken Eseni, big guy in the media now. He was a special advisor media, actually, not director. We had another guy who was director. So when we went to Radio Nigeria, they gave us a bill, the cost. And we came to Chief to tell him, because then I think it was a D-Euro, to call him so that we can get a rebate. So he called a D-Euro and said, we have a world press conference. Ojukwu is going for presidency on that. He said it's a lie. He said, well, what I'm calling you is that we came to your people and they gave us a bill. And he said, who gave you a bill? He dropped the call, called I think the regional station manager, and we said, if you don't carry it live exclusively, you consider your job over. So it dawned on us that was a master stroke. So not only did we get it free, a lot of BBC, all the Voice of America, everybody came. That Ojukwu, who had fought for the separation of Nigeria, now wants to become president of a united Nigeria. So that gave us a lot of gusto. And immediately Ojukwu announced, ABGA became like the rave of the moment, especially in the southeast, and every other place you had Igbos in good population. So our idea, we felt, we knew that Ojukwu may not win the presidency, but we needed to have a platform and a structure that can produce majority of the members of the Senate. We had 15 senators, at least majority 10 to 12. I think it's about 47 or 48 House of Reps members, just 40 of that. House of Assembly, at least between 3 to 4 governors. Because, I felt, and everybody in the room then felt, that one of the reasons why we have not been able to make much progress politically in Nigeria is that we always come to the central table of politics, divided and singing from different hymn books. So we got into that election. Nobody gave us a chance, but ABGA swept the southeast. P2B was our candidate in Anambra. Ugabala was in Enugu. Izogo was in Imo. Onwuka Nels in Abia. I've forgotten the guy that ran the election in April there. But we had one guy, also the Nobi, who won on the first ballot to go to the House of Reps from Anambra. One funny character that I almost single-handedly with Kenneth and he sent him to the House of Reps then. So we won election even in places where we didn't have candidates. After that election, President Obasanjo invited Chekwa Sokore for meetings because they were shocked. Even PDP leaders in the southeast were shocked. In fact, because of how sensitive some of those negotiations were, then there are so many things I can't say online. So many things were, including handing over back states that we won and all that. There was Obasanjo was willing to concede because he saw what he also wanted to avoid. Because after the election, General Buhari and Ojukwu started talking about possible alliance for a mass action because the 2003 election was massively manipulated. One of the worst elections that have ever been conducted in Nigeria. So back to why I'm doing this video is that this effort every 4 years to get Igbos, get everybody agitated, emotion rises, resources applied for Igbo presidency that will never be. Is it not better to deploy that energy, resources, and efforts to build a regional platform, build a politically cohesive and integrated Southeast, create a platform that Igbos themselves can recruit their own kind of leaders? Because this whole argument, let's connect it to the center, is not only childish and foolish, it's also very dishonest. Even the people who are making that claim know that they are lying to themselves. Because once after elections, all the Igbos that help to secure the mandate for the person who becomes president, they will keep them in the balcony. They will never allow them to enter into the bedroom of power. If they have pity for them, they bring them to the sitting room, not to contribute, but just to occupy the space. We know, right? They too know that what I'm saying is true. So all the bragging of taking you to the center, doing all those guys, they know that they don't even have that, they have power. They have not even taken themselves, who are part of the ruling party, they are not properly connected. Their legs are always standing on slippery grounds. They're always proving their loyalty every other time, more than other. That's why when Igbos are always very loud in supporting a presidential candidate of a national party, so that it will be seen that they are supported. While the people who own the presidential candidate may not even say anything, they'll just be going about their normal business. But Igbos will carry it on their head, So the point I'm making is that is it not time for Ndi Igbo to look inwards and build internal cohesion politically? So that by the time we have our own, Anambra people have been able to, I admire Anambra people for what they have done with ABGA, honestly. And I've said it to many people. Because today, if you want to be anything in ABGA, you don't need to go outside Anambra to become the thing. But what people do not understand is that power does not reside in the southeast. If you want to be anything in the southeast, you have to go outside southeast to get it. You have, or negotiate with institutions, principalities, political principalities outside the southeast to get it in the southeast. But Anambra people have been able to, domesticate ABGA. And I hope that they continue to do that, no matter what happens. And I wish that those who use that ABGA platform will be able to give the people a reason why they need to sustain that legacy. Because if you notice, I've tried to trace this in a conversation I had with someone. Since after what happened in the First Republic when Zeke won an election in the West and there was all those cross carpeting and all those, the history. My brothers and sisters from the West have always voted for a Yoruba dominant party, Yoruba dominant and controlled party. Win or lose, they stay there. They are more interested in that their 6 states and the 18 senators and the number of House of Reps to just build that. And what has that attracted for them? Dignity and respect. Unity of purpose. Whenever there are issues to be discussed at the national level, they are invited as a unit, respected, accorded all kinds of respect that they deserve. But when it comes to the side of the southeast, they will just poach around and select some errand boys, who will be more excited and become more Catholic than the Pope. At the end of the day, they just keep all of our people at the back on of power. So, Nibo, is it not time? I've just a question. I may be wrong in my analysis or in my postulations, but is it not time to think about a new strategic? Because the truth is, Nigeria is not ready for an Igbo presidency. That's the truth. I don't know what Igbos did to Nigerians. I don't know. But anything concerning Igbos unites Nigeria very quickly. Anything that brings Igbos close to power at the center, man, Nigerians frown at it. I don't know. I don't know what about it. I know we are noisy, we are domineering, we're all that, but then the point is, maybe we have not been able to properly structure the engagements. In other videos, I've talked about the role of Zeke in putting us where we are today. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's time for Igbos to re-strategize politically and stop wasting energy and efforts. Until Nigeria is able to conduct free, fair, credible election where competence, character, and capacity will become the currency to power, as long as the fault lines are used, ethnicity, tribe, religion, party affiliation, and all that is the determining factor. Structurally, we have been disadvantaged. So I feel that it's time for our people to think inwards on how to liberate themselves and build more of regional cohesion politically. I've talked about that, about how economically we could do that. It's very important. Darling.